Okay, so could you give me some justification or reasons of why you choose these three? Just very simply.
Actually, we have four top high priority, but
Four.
we exclude measles because it seems that the vaccination programs is increasing.
I see. So maybe that's all. Measles is all, maybe okay in the future, near future. I see. How about TB? Why you choose TB? TB is a number of
Because of our crowding first, and also the population under the 50 years old. Most of this I think among the children.
I see.
So and also they have the problem with overcrowding. Their population is increasing.
I see.
So TB would be a problem for them.
Maybe so. Yeah, maybe so. The many of the groups.
50% of the population are under the 50 years old. So most of them are child.
I see.
So the rate of this, even from the malaria, the consequences among the children, most of the deaths are among the children.
Okay.
And the HIV is a future problem. It's a future problem because this young population are going to have like sexual relations in the future.
Yeah.
They have to have some plan for that right now.
Okay. Yeah.
Just three.
Okay. yeah. But yeah, the other group also choose TB, malaria, HIV/AIDS. どうですか？あとこちら大体同じような as he said or as that group said, some number of cases increasing and the risk groups, children, the population of the children's group, the portion of the children is increasing, and malaria and measles. どうですかこれミススはここ真ん中のグループは so this middle table has some measles is more important than HIV. これはなんかディスカッションしました。Yeah, in the middle table, measles is important than HIV/AIDS.
3つっていう話。
ああ、そう。So only so limitation 3 is
その次だったら
I see.
HIV とか入ってくるかなと思うんです。
Okay. So actually, I reviewed this exercise in various groups, developing countries and developed countries also. How about, I have one comment. How about cholera, J, as I mentioned, epidemic-prone diseases. How it's important of this country disease land? Did any group discuss about that? この epidemic-prone disease は重要じゃないでしょうか? Okay, so this group, could you explain epidemic-prone disease はどうですか? そうね。How about that epidemic-prone disease? What do you think epidemic-prone disease? Is it important of this country? High priority? What is?
This is acute disease, I think. This caused a huge death at a very short time. So it's one of the priority for like that we always have to have it at the top list. But all the diseases that we discuss are like not that acute. They don't cause the epidemic like cholera. Cholera like caused maybe more than 1,000 people like 3 days. We had the cholera like outbreak back in Europe. Like in 3 days we had like 2,000 cases. Just in 2 days or 3 days. It's like very bad, and all of them are. And this country is like most of them are child. Most of the deaths are occurring in the child.
Yeah.
So it's also important.
It's not so important, you said so. Okay, how about that? No, yeah, important. However, compared with some other diseases, for measles, TB, in some groups from, for example, I worked with this exercise with some African groups, student groups in let's say it's a developing countries, developing areas of Africa. So it's a Central Africa, and they said JE, cholera, epidemic-prone disease. That means on table 1, 003, 1,000. So, yeah, they said they can forget about this because they cannot afford to work with them. However, no, I worked with some student group from Europe, North Scandinavian countries, and they mentioned if outbreak was occurred, thousands of people were infected or affected, and many have died. So they have to do that. Yeah, they have something to do with that. So, that's their logics. Think about that. It's epidemic-prone disease. Let's say in disease land, for example, Japanese encephalitis, once in 5 years, epidemic of Japanese encephalitis. And let's think about pandemic influenza issues in our countries, in the current world. Pandemic influenza, how many times in past 100 years? 何回ぐらいありましたっけ ?4、5回 ?5 times? Or past 5? 過去1年間 past 100 years. どうですあれ So, thinking about this situation and thinking about their logics, in African groups, they said they forget about the pandemic influenza because 5 times in 100, almost nothing. They said so. But European countries, Scandinavian students, they mentioned if outbreak was occurred, many hundreds of people are affected and many have died. So they have to do that. They have to prepare for that. So we have to prepare for the pandemic influenza, even though we do not have much resources, human resources, some capacity, capital resources or whatever. So that's their discussion. So I do not say which is right and which is wrong, but it depends on their situations. どう思いますか? Sorry about Japanese. 今パンデミックインフルエンザの話ちょっと持ち出しましたけれども、過去100年間に何回でしたって 4、5回かそんなもんですかね。そんなものほっときゃいいっていう理屈ですがね。お金がない国々から来たの方々。ただ日本とかアメリカと今だったら出たらえらいことになるのになんとか備えなくちゃなんない。100年に5回としましょうか。これはどうでしょうね。今これ皆様にちょっと答えあげることはできない。So I do not have a good answers to you. Yeah, at the Scandinavian groups and some very poor country group. So maybe they have their logic and justice. So I do not say which is right and which is wrong. What do you think? So just give you some ideas. そういうグループがいて、こういうふうなプライオリタイゼーション、そして実際にパブリックヘルスにやっていく場合はそういったようなことが多かれ少なかれ毎回ありますから、ちょっとこういうふうなことも考えていただきたいということを思ってこれ持ってきたんですね。So that's a part one. However, もうalmost the end of the lectures. So, if we have time, we'll move on to the part 2 using the chart, infectious disease chart. However, so we do not have time. So as I mentioned, so I'll move on to some summaries. So today, I brought 3 topics. The first one is field epidemiology, and hopefully you have some idea or some flavor of field epidemiologists, the public health practitioners. That's the first topic. The second topic is, so those public health officers or field epidemiologists, how do they think about communicable disease control among human populations? So I gave you such chart. Too simple, too self-explanatory, but it's good to think about some control measures among human population. And the third one is, I will give you some exercises under some time constraint and give you some idea, give you some way of thinking about prioritization and give you some problems you have to encounter in the near future or in the future when you're working in the public health or any kind of population health issues。この3つを持ってきたんですよね。ちょっと今日はわやわやして何とも伝えきれなかったところがかなりあるんですけれども。So I'll come back next week as an epidemiologist, field epidemiologist, and as somebody, as you mentioned, so we bring about outbreak investigation or investigated some risk management issues using epidemiology or statistics。皆様このケースコントロールスタディとかコホートスタディとかなんか聞いたことは習ったんですよね。Okay, so I'll review such epidemiological way of thinking and give you some idea how to put these techniques or information into real world。ということで来週また戻ってきますので。And if you have any questions or comment、また私がいるときに。そうこれ12時まででよかったんですよね。Okay, so that's all for today. Okay, thank you very much for joining. And sorry for time constraint and a little bit mixed up. ちょっと日本語と英語でややこしかったですかね。ちょっと私もちょっと慌てふためきました。ということで、そしたらまた来週戻ってまいりますので。